Hello, Shawn.
Hello there.
I just wanted to pick up on the New Day, really. You mentioned their involvement in Deadline just at the top there. And it seems really for both Pretty Deadly and the New Day, there are a lot of advantages really to having them involved in the program. And I just think with everything they've accomplished in WWE, I'm not speaking for them and say that they would like an extended stretch on NXT, but in a lot of ways this seems a really good fit. So just wondering really, is there any appetite from the parties involved for this to be a reasonably long-term kind of stay for them, or is it pretty much a short-term deal for now?
Well, look, I'll say this: we never sort of go into it asking for long-term. We kind of take everybody's temperature when they come here and hope that it does. We understand if it doesn't and the commitments, but I'm with you, and that is something that I'll say this. They really, really enjoyed being here Tuesday, and I know that there's an aspect, Xavier, right? I mean, he started here, and he's wanted to come back for a long time, and this is kind of I don't know. So they're two. It's amazing because again, they're two young guys now, but gosh, they've been doing this a long time, as you say. They've accomplished everything, and they are there. You get to that point where you really want to start to be able to give back, and I think that's where New Day is. And I won't lie, I am absolutely hoping to take advantage of that. They really had a great time. We are going to do everything that we can to keep them here for as long as we can. I asked them if we could broach those conversations, and they were certainly open to it. So as you say, I'm really hoping it's certainly more than a one-time thing. I think it just becomes a question of how long. Those are always the questions, and we understand that. Those are the ones that they have to think about. They have to talk with family members, and obviously those are things that have to get straightened out between NXT and main roster talents. But they appear to be open to the conversation, which we are very excited about.
Thanks, Shawn.
And moving on to Jim Barcelona, Miami Herald.
Thank you, Shawn. I want to follow up a little bit on the touring part of it. For 2023, do we know yet? Will there be more house show live event touring in Florida, and then also live event house show touring nationally?
Well, so look, that's obviously still to be determined, but clearly we hope so. Look, I can't lie. I would imagine, we'll see how, Vengeance Day goes, and we'll go from there. But right now, that is absolutely the hope from us. And so, but right now, if I'm being honest with you, right now, that is one of those TBDs.
Thank you.
You bet.
And moving on to Shawn Ross Sapp with Fightful.
Thanks for taking the time. We talked about New Day a little bit earlier. When a situation like that is presented, is it you guys going to Triple H or somebody and saying, we'd like to utilize these talent, or is it them coming to you and saying, hey, we want to appear here, or maybe a little bit of all combined?
It's just that, Shawn. It's a little more of all of them. We do have, look, there are a lot of main roster talent that have, as you know, NXT roots, and a lot of them like to come back and help out. Obviously, we've got a lot of them that live here in Orlando, so that's obviously a big advantage to us as well. So usually the process is something that, like, if we're thinking about it from a creative standpoint and we've got it, at X date, I do everything I can to get on the horn to Hunter or Bruce and see what the possibility is. And then there are some that I'll I don't know whether it's right or not, but I take advantage of the cool titles and all that other stuff, and like, hey, this is a quick one out of the blue, but this is what we need can we get somebody on the quick? And that's obviously more difficult, and it's not always, you know what I mean? It's we can get to somebody, but we're not sure who. So, to answer your question fairly, it is a number of different ways, and we've done every one of them, at one point or another. It doesn't, I guess, Shawn, if I'm going to answer, it doesn't have to be a real formal process. It takes many different forms.
And our next question will come from Ryan Satin with Fox Sports.
Hey, Shawn, thank you so much for taking the time to do this today.
You bet. I appreciate you guys doing it with us. I really do.
So we've recently seen an influx of former NXT talent appear on Raw or SmackDown under Triple H. So with that being said, which performers in NXT do you think are the most ready for the main roster right now?
Well, let's see. Look, I mean, I think we've got, they're different, I guess, different versions of ready. I will say that you can just kind of seamlessly go right in. I'd say you got Pretty Deadly. I think they're guys that, you could probably insert right in. I think a guy like J.D. McDonough is another person that could just flow right in, would be ready to go. I think a Grayson Waller, clearly Apollo, obviously, but I think a Grayson Waller is a guy that is just unbelievably talented, does everything under the sun for us. I believe somebody like an Alba Fire could step right in, a Zoe Stark. People that have been doing it long enough that really, from a work standpoint, from a character standpoint, and even from I'll say, age and maturity and time in the business that are ready to step right in. They'll still learn, obviously, by being in the ring with people better than them. But just so you know, that's not the takeaway, again, from like the Brawns or the Creeds, who, again, they would do excellent, but it's, I guess, if we wanted to, we'd love to be able to have them to cook a little longer and really get them well-rounded and, perfected as best we can so that they have the best chance for success. I hope that makes sense, because they're, I never want to, take away from those talent, because they have just been so, their growth over the last year has just been tremendous. We've asked so much of them, and they certainly are deserving of it, but we'd love to be able to really have an opportunity to round them out and get them just a little bit more experience before we were to send them up.
Makes sense.
And we'll take our next question from Lucas Chapard with VL Media.
Hello, Shawn. Thank you so much for taking the time to answer our questions. I wanted to ask you about NXT Europe. It was announced on August 2022 that the brand was scheduled to be launched in 2023. Will there be some kind of announcements regarding the brand in the upcoming future? And what will be your contribution within the brand? Will you be in charge of the booking?
So, first of all, yes, there will be an announcement. We are currently, again, doing our best to get all the infrastructure in place on that as we speak. And yes, I will, certainly at the beginning, because of my work with NXT UK, it'll be very hands-on. But look, the ideal goal is to get it that the most I would be doing is, having sort of the, whatever, 10,000 foot, overall look, and just maybe dot some I's, cross some T's, finalize some things. But we'd love to have, again, that's what we're doing now, is getting a lot of that infrastructure in place, working on, creative teams and things of that nature, looking and selecting into talent and who's going to fill out that roster. At the beginning, though, my team here, Matt Bloom, a number of our, coaches and producers will have to be very hands-on as we train some of these other people to get up and running. So it will be also a development process from an infrastructure standpoint as well. But that's coming, again, as we say, you'll definitely hear from us in 2023.
Thank you, Shawn. Back to you.
Yes, sir. Thank you.
And moving on to Alistar McGeorge with the Metro UK.
Hi, Shawn. Thanks for taking the time today.
You bet, sir.
I want to, since the last call, Ava Rain has made a TV debut, so I wanted to ask what you kind of make of her early kind of character work development on TV and what you can tell us about her in-ring development.
So I think but first from a character standpoint, she's been a huge kick in the shorts, shall I say, for the Schism. And again, I think she's doing fantastic. We were just talking about it the other day. Just her facial, she looks fantastic. She's really getting comfortable, I think, and that's the most important thing. She's really beginning to, as we say, get into this character and enjoy the process. From an in-ring standpoint, I guess I would have to ask one of the coaches on that. I mean, I think with everybody, she's developing and working at an absolutely great pace because, I always go back to the no news is good news, and from every report that I read, it's fantastic and successful. But I will, again, for us, it's just very exciting, to have her plugged into the Schism and for her to be just enjoying that role, getting comfortable with it, it looking natural, it not looking, difficult for her to do. She doesn't seem to be struggling. I think she's really gaining confidence as well, and that's so important to this. So look, we are very excited, obviously, for her and her development here. But I guess the biggest thing for us is that she's having some fun, and again, that's we always want to do our jobs and do it well, but at the same time, this is a very young group that we have here, and I'd really love for them to enjoy it and have fun while they're doing it, because I think that makes this job a lot easier to do. It's a pretty tough a gig, and it's a lot easier to do if you're enjoying the entire process. And she's definitely doing that.
Absolutely. Thanks for your time.
My pleasure. Thank you.
And we'll go to Bill Pritchard with WrestleZone.com.
Hey, Shawn, how are you?
I'm just fine.
I had a question about, WWE and NXT's focus on collegiate athletes, obviously Bron Breakker's a success story already, but given that you're someone who rose through the territory system, do you feel like your coaching philosophy shifts in a way to cater to a talent that, maybe is coming from just a strictly athletic background rather than somebody who grew up as a fan of wrestling?
Well, look, I think I understand the question. There's a different technique, obviously, from a coaching standpoint. When you have the people that are very familiar with it, have grown up as fans of the WWE, have watched it over the years, and then you might have an athlete who's never seen it. I got to tell you, that's where we really lean on Robbie Brookside and Norman Smiley. I mean, to watch those two, train some of these young talent is just amazing. Again, when they're coming from absolutely really no wrestling background and have no knowledge of it. And look, we also, Steve Corino does a great job. But once you get here, you may not have, been a fan, but you learn the history, and we start, helping them understand it. And look, I do know I think as even though I always compliment this generation about being better than we were, I think there's still a little bit of that, they didn't start the way we did, and therefore they don't appreciate it. I think there's a little bit of that goes on, but that beat themselves out, man. I mean, I got to tell you, so we don't worry about it. But there definitely is different techniques and styles, and our coaches, like we're all, all of our coaches continue to learn as well. Because of the point that you made is that you have so many people coming in now that may or may not be familiar with it. And that takes a totally different coaching style and a lot more patience. You're understanding timing, footwork, just some of the natural movements and I don't know, looks of selling and things of that nature, even story and psychology. If you don't have any familiarity with it, it's a much longer process.